Hi guys, so in this video I'll be talking about the mistakes I have made building my first Axie team. So if you guys haven't already seen my previous video, I talked about the experience I have been doing scholarship program, and now that I have enough to invest in my first team, I'll be sharing with you guys what are the mistakes I've made so far in the past 2 weeks and how you can avoid them. And be sure to watch to the end because the last tip that I'll be giving you guys is actually not talked about too much from what I've seen on the YouTube videos, and I think it is very important if you just started playing Axie Infinity and making your own team. And without further ado, let's get into the video. So the first mistake I made is to not take into account how the energy works and the utilization of zero cost and energy gain system. So from my recommendation, I would say having at least 2 energy cost cards would be nice, and one of it being an energy gain card, something like a Nemo, would be very good. The reason is because this allows you to play more aggressive and without any cost, and also outplay opponents. So something like stuns or last stands. Zero cost energy cards are very important for you to get through those and outplay the opponent. So the next point that I'll be talking about is a pretty common advice, but I think I have to emphasize this more because it is very important, which is to avoid card dependent Axies. So a few odd examples that I can give is, like, let's say having 2 cute bunny cards and then you have no other bug parts, which is very card dependent because you need to have the 2 cute bunnies, which in turn goes up to like 4. So you will have 4 chances of having cute bunny until the whole deck is reset. And also the most common thing that people talk about, which is the Ronin card. So you have to have at least 3 cards in total to trigger the crit. You'll always find yourself waiting for cards to come by for you to trigger the Ronin combo. Also, one of the example I can give you is a backdoor card that I have purchased and sold recently, which is this backdoor bird aqua killer. My logic behind this is I have zero cost card, which is the Biden. This allows me to manage the energy well, and also I have the Toothless Bite because for my team I noticed that I faced a lot of trouble against backdoor birds or koi aquas. So having a Toothless Bite to target the furthest enemy, which is always the case for backdoor birds and koi aquas, they're usually at the back. Killing the back lane would mean easier to win, right? But a lot of the case, I only pulled like Toothless Bite or Biden's, and then maybe sometimes Carrot, and then Beach like maybe once. And with this, I don't have enough damage to kill the back lane, even if I have like some of these cards. So I would need something like Toothless Bite, Double Beach, and a Carrot to kill the bird. So with this, you know, I'll often find myself either the plant gets killed first, or I just don't get the combo that I want, and this costs me the game, right? So you have to keep all these in mind. So the next point I'll be talking about is decide what type of team that you want. So a common example of this is to go to the Axie Infinity leaderboard. So something like the leaderboard in Axie Zone tells you the top 100 players, and you can search through and see what they play and what the meta is. But usually these are pretty expensive Axies, so you have to find alternative. And another option I can give you is go to YouTube and search for team comps that you love to play. Just find out, like, if you are the type that is very aggressive, you know, you like to go ham, something like a bird double aqua will be good for you. Or let's say you want more CC, you want more thinking throughout the game. You can go for things like cute bunny, poison comms, even discard teams is very good. So like parasite pincer kind of teams. Or another example that I can give you is if you want to play longer but a very safe team, which is something like double plant and a damage at the back. So these are the things that you have to think and see what type of team comps that you want to play. So when you're looking through the leaderboard, you can find a lot of good teams which are proven to work in the high MMR. So you can look through them and then you can find the cheaper alternative in the marketplace. So this is where you have to try to learn the marketplace, and there are some tools to help you to find like cards that you want to play. And you know what else is cheaper though? Hitting the like, subscribe, and comment down below what team interests you the most in this game. Okay, let's move on to the real advice. So I will give you an example of a team that I found that is in the top leaderboards, which is this guy called Pulas. He's ranked 53 right now, and look at what he's playing, right? So he's playing poison comms with plant, reptile, and dust. So if you search through it, you can see this is one of his. So this is his back lane, and this costs quite a lot because of it being a dusk and also having a very high speed, as you can see here. And the logic is having Garish Worm and Grass Snake as the poison, and then go for things like Tiny Turtle, and then target the mid laner of the enemy team, right? So this is his mid lane, and this also applies poison and then target the furthest enemy. And this is his plant, so this is basically just tank with Yam, and surprisingly there's 2 energy cost cards. You usually want to avoid these because they are very tricky to use. So something like Leaf Bug to gain energy, and then you got this card with some sort of damage. So let's talk about the total price for this first. So you can see here, this is 0.132, this is 0.263, and this is 0.215 ETH, right? And I know something like this is pretty outdated because this is 24th September, so the marketplace might change, the price might vary, but this is just a general logic. So this in total puts you at 0.61 ETH for just this team, right? So what my alternative is, what I'm going to show you. So let's show you the back lane first. The back lane is the same exact cards, but the downside is that it is less tankier and less speedy. It being a reptile is kind of a disadvantage because of the speed and the tankiness overall, but you see the logic is still the same. Backdoor, this is targets the mid lane and then apply poison and a stun. This is good because there is 0 energy cost card, and also pair well with Tiny Turtle, which you need 2 additional cards, right? So this right now sells for around 0.114 ETH, which is much cheaper. It's half of the price of what he paid. And then this goes for 0.09, so this is way lesser than his mid lane, but this has quite a lot of downside, but the logic is still the same. So you have Garish Worm, Grass Snake, apply poisons, and then you have the Razor Bite, you know, because I can't find a good alternative. So this is 90 damage with 60 shield. This is 90 damage with 50 shield. So this one deals lesser damage because this one only heals, and this one gains 130% damage if the target is faster, right? But this is still the same. So you have target fastest enemy. This is very tricky to play because usually the enemy have something like a bird or aqua at the back, which has the highest speed. So with this, you can target the fastest, which is the back lane of their Axies. And there are cases where, you know, they put something like a Terminator build or just something that is slower than the front and the mid lane. So this can be very tricky to use, but the overall logic is still the same. You can still just don't play this card and then play the poison to kill the front tank faster, right? So the tank that I'll be showing you is Pumpkin, Zigzag, Yam, Leaf Bug. So you have 1/0 cost card, and then this gains energy comboed with the plant, and you have the Yam as well, and then you have the Pumpkin. And the mouth, I go for Zigzag because it has heal, it has way more damage, but this one costs 1 energy more than something like this, right? So I think this is overall pretty balanced, and this costs 0.084 ETH. So in total, this team costs you around 0.288 Ethereum, which is more than half of what he paid. And the logic is still the same, but You would not climb to top 100 like he does because of all the advantage he has, but I think you can still do very well in like 1.2k to maybe 2k MMR, which you can earn decent SLP for. So something like this, you know, find alternatives, find what the important cards for their teams are, and then the less important one, see what you can swap out and be similar to theirs, right? So the last mistake that I made, that I don't see many people talk about this for when they first started building teams, which is to stick to what you know and what the meta is, instead of like building cool teams that you think is very decent in the current meta. The reason why I suggest you is because this is your first team, you don't have as much experience as others, and you don't know how to play the cards well, right? So if you create your own meta, first, you don't have examples, you don't know where to learn the play style, you have to discover yourself, you don't have much reference to go for. Second, if the comp that you think of just didn't work, you know, you notice so many problems and it just didn't work, it is very hard to sell your Axies because it is just unique, or people don't usually look for those, right? So the important note to take from this is buy the safer team, so something like double aqua or just things that you search on YouTube and it worked in high MMR, and just try to replicate what they are doing, because that is where you find references to what you want to play and how to play those. The reason why I'm suggesting this is because, you know, getting a creative team, creating your own meta is very good, but the main problem is, like, let's say you're someone like me, you only have enough money to buy one team. This will be a very risky move because it would slow down your progression a lot, which is what I can relate to. So what I would suggest you to do is get a safer team, earn enough to buy another Axie, and then you can slowly replace from there. So to summarize this video, firstly, I've talked about how energy management is very important in your Axie Infinity team, and how important it is to have zero cost cards to outplay opponents. Second, we talked about to avoid card dependent Axies, so something like a Ronin card or even some backdoor cards could be tricky. And third is to decide what team you're gonna play, and a very good way to do this is by watching YouTube videos or even going to the leaderboards to find some examples that you wish to play. And lastly guys, the most important thing that I'll be sharing with you guys, and I think it's the most regrettable thing that I've done so far, is by investing into a risky team. The general strategy is to play a safer team, something like a double aqua team, for example, that is proven to work even in high MMR. And then once you already got your investment back, once you already have your ROI, you can start investing into more Axies and build more interesting teams that you think would be very good. And that's it for the video guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.